In the midst of everything going on, one of the biggest challenges organizations are facing, especially healthcare, is how to obtain an endpoint like a laptop and then get those out to their users quickly and securely. By the time IT purchases an endpoint, images it, and then sends it out to a user, that could span days. What I want to show you is an alternative to imaging using an unified endpoint management system. What this will allow IT to have is a completely zero-touch approach to provisioning and securing their Windows endpoints. It's the idea of I take a Windows device, that I ship it to an end user, that user opens it up, they hit Wi-Fi, and then that Windows device hands itself off to the MDM to provision itself. That provisioning workflow can include things like essential security configurations like Bitlocker, PIN code or password for the device, pushing applications like Citrix or Workspace Receiver or the Horizon client, or essential applications like WebEx or Zoom for telehealth, as well as things like Windows updates, managing the OS patches on that device, as well as things like VPN for remote access. What I want to show you today is what that experience looks like using a Windows 10 device with Microsoft's Autopilot program with Azure Active Directory, utilizing VMware's Workspace ONE MDM. So I've got a fresh Windows device here with me. It's just shipped to an end user. They powered on and they're going through the setup assistant. So, we're going through essential things like Wi-Fi. And what you'll see here is that once we hit Wi-Fi, that device is actually going to say, hey, join your Active Directory, Azure Active Directory at this point. And it's going to say, okay, put in your corporate identifiers at this point. Once that happens, that device is actually being handed off to the MDM. And we'll see in this next screen that that user inputs their password. And once that happens, the device is now being provisioned by the MDM. We're going through certain configurations. And like I mentioned, that those configurations include things like PIN code, application pushes, VPN profiles. And we'll see here that VMware Workspace ONE is actually automatically going through certain tasks, ensuring the device is properly secure and set up. Those tasks are going to include things like the start menu. So we can configure the start menu so we have a standardized approach to all our Windows devices, completely over the air, not needing to touch that device at all from IT's aspect. Additionally, we're going to go through things like pushing applications to that device. You'll see here that I can push things like Acrobat, Outlook, Skype, Zoom, or WebEx for telehealth, and you actually see here at the right-hand side with very little impact to the performance of the network of that device. And all this is happening completely over the air. We'll also see that one of the critical things that an MDM can do is actually manage the OS updates. So I'm going to go here and check for updates. We're going to see that the device is actually missing some critical Windows patches for that device. And since it is missing critical patches for the device, there's configuration within the MDM that blocks access to the internet, access denied, until that security patch is actually installed and that endpoint is properly secured. So you can see here right now that the MDM is actually now pushing that OS update to that device. So that was just a quick example of how we use the UEM to provision a device with zero touch from IT. This can be a critical component that IT can utilize to be able to send out devices quickly to their users while still maintaining control and management over those devices. Additionally, this provisioning process can be applied to BYO assets as well. With the constraints in the market around just getting a laptop, I'm seeing more organizations looking at just enabling BYO devices. The personal devices that their care providers or other end users actually have. How do we utilize those and get our corporate data and assets on there, but maintaining security on there? And the MDM can do that for them. Even if it's not a corporate asset, they can still provision an MDM on there, be able to push applications and security configurations to those devices, and if at any point they can remove that corporate data, so it's still securely managed by them.